Joe Swinson, one of the brightest and best of our young Lib Dem MPs. Well, I think that deserved a round of applause. Joe has already overhauled wasteful packaging and as co-founder of the Campaign for Body Confidence is helping to change the culture around body image. Now she has set her sights on our failed voting system, and there is no one of our opponents should fear her more. And there's no one that should fear her more than her, than me, than any of our opponents. Conference, brace yourself. Joe Swinson.
Thank you, Art, for that welcome. Hello, conference. It's great to be here and see so many of you today. But conference, I have a confession. There's something that William Hague and I have in common. No, not drinking 14 pints, something rather more embarrassing. As we all know, William Hague spent his teenage years engrossed in copies of Hansard. And I too was a massive politics geek in my teens. Each year I spoke in my school's annual parliamentary debate. In my first year, at the tender age of 12, I was roped in last minute to make up the numbers, so I was given the only unfilled role: Conservative Minister for the Environment. In 1992, in Scotland, defending the poll tax. Compared to that, defending the VAT rise is a breeze. Fortunately, the next year, I was able to choose. And I chose the Liberal Democrats for two reasons: a penny on income tax for education and fair votes. Growing up in the west of Scotland, a Labour stronghold, I felt it was so deeply unfair that so many votes just didn't count. That no matter what happened, my area would always have a Labour MP. Well, perhaps not quite always. Boundary changes, don't you just love them? So much so, in fact, we're going to have them every 5 years. Cheers, Nick. But it shouldn't have to matter where the boundaries are drawn or which constituency you are living in. Every vote should count. The alternative vote makes votes count. And most importantly, it makes voters count. Instead of having to express everything in one single cross, voters can say clearly which candidates they prefer. They aren't forced to second-guess the likely outcome with a tactical vote. With the alternative vote, there need never be another wasted vote. Nick has been on inspiring form these past 2 weeks. He's been leading the debate in Parliament on two bills, both for fixed-term parliaments and for the referendum on electoral reform. I can't describe quite how good it feels as a Lib Dem MP on the government benches, watching our Lib Dem leader, the Deputy Prime Minister, make the case for political reform. And it's even better to know that we'll win the vote on the bill. I have to say, it takes some getting used to, this being in government thing. Not everyone is so enthusiastic, though. Have you seen some of the Commons dinosaurs arguing against voting reform? Sounds to me like they're worried about finally facing extinction. And frankly, about time too. The House of Commons badly needs to change in so many ways. And a fairer voting system is a really important start. Our opponents' arguments are terrible. They say people won't understand how to use a new voting system. I refuse to accept this. After all, we've already got lots of different voting systems. There's X Factor, Big Brother, my favorite, Strictly Come Dancing, all different voting systems, all on the same day. And incredibly, we cope. But they even have the gall to say that it's not the Lib Dems' ideal system, so we shouldn't settle for it. This after it was the other party's reluctance for reform that meant there was no majority in Parliament for an STV referendum. In an ideal world, there would be a Liberal Democrat majority government, a majority for STV. But we didn't win the election. No party did. What we did win was a historic chance to make our voting system fairer. Conference, we must not throw this chance away. We must grab it with both hands. And that's why this campaign is so important. The only way we will win this referendum is if we stay united, back the alternative vote, and campaign hard for the next 8 months. And that campaign starts now, today. And you know, it's going to be a lot of fun. For one thing, we get to fight the Tories. Right, just to get you in the mood for Tim, we're going to have some audience participation going. So on your seats, or possibly underneath them, you should find a sign-up sheet, bright orange with a big yes written on it. I want you to hold that high above your heads and shout out yes at the top of your voices if you agree with any of the following questions, okay? Conference. Do you want to change our tired, dated, and failed electoral system? Quite good, but you can do better. Will you fight hard for the alternative vote? Yes! Now here's one for Liberal Democrats. They're going to love this. Are you going to fill in the sign-up sheet and put it in the boxes on your way out? Great. And are you going to spend the next 8 months working hard to win this referendum in your community? Of course you are. And we're not alone. Reform-minded people from across and beyond the political spectrum will be working to secure this change under the banner of the Yes to Fairer Votes campaign led by Pam and her colleagues. Thank you for your enthusiasm, Conference. I know we'll all be doing our best over the next few months to win this referendum, and I look forward to coming together again in a year's time for a massive victory party. But until then, please welcome to the stage Tim Farron.